And your teacher invited me to come in and to work with you on a group exercise. So without taking up a whole lot of time, I'm going to hand out the instruction sheets and some data sheets, and I'll explain to you what we're going to do on the exercise, okay? But I do need to separate all of you into groups. And so since today the class is small, we're just going to form one group. So if you could just move your tables together and just kind of turn it around, okay? So that we have these two tables, and then you can all sit at this one table.
We can turn them like this?
Yeah, so that you're facing each other.
Okay.
Okay. Let me get your chairs. All right. And then everybody at your table gets one of these, and everybody at your table gets one of these. Okay. Okay. So what we're working on today is we're working on a murder mystery, all right? You're an elite group of police detectives, and what has been happening is there's been a flow of drugs into your high school, and your principal wants it to stop. And so you started investigating the flow of drugs in the school, and you think you have it narrowed down to one gang. And so what you should have in terms of your handouts is you should have a handout that says Murder 1 briefing sheet. Then you should have another handout that says Murder 1 instruction sheet, and on the back of the Murder 1 instruction sheet, you should have a Murder 1 suspect data sheet. All right? You've singled out the Charlie Papahassan gang for particular attention because you think that you've narrowed it down to that gang providing the majority of the drugs flowing into your school. So you've developed the suspect data sheet of all the people that are involved in that gang. But here's what happened. While you were trying to solve the crime, a murder took place. And Charlie Papahassan was killed because someone in the organization is trying to, climb and take over that particular gang. And the challenge with them trying to take over the gang is if you can solve the murder and get the right person behind bars, you can actually disrupt the flow of drugs into your school. So it really makes it especially important that you have to solve the crime, all right? Now you have your instructions there in front of you, but let me kind of go over it with you, okay? You have to assume that all the actions that you're reading about in your Murder 1 briefing sheet are taking place today. You do have before you the list of suspects, okay? And so that's what you have on the suspect data sheet. There is only one solution, which means there's only one person who can solve the crime. One person who committed the murder. It's not several people working together or two people. Only one person committed the murder. Okay? The other thing is that you have to solve it as a group, which means that you have to come to some sort of consensus. And the other thing is, even using circumstantial evidence, you have to come up with a reason for eliminating 6 of the suspects and the reason for that last suspect becoming your murderer, the person you're going to put forth as committing the murder. Does that make sense? Okay? So as you're going through and identifying your information, remember you have to come up with a reason for eliminating every single one of the suspects except for one who you will then put forth as your murderer. All right? And we're timing it. You have a set period of time because remember, we have a small, narrow window of opportunity to get this crime solved. And so you need to work pretty quick in terms of getting that done, and you have to work as a group, okay? And you can use circumstantial evidence. All right? Any questions? You can write on your papers. They're yours. Ready? Begin. Can you be my timekeeper? Okay. Pardon? They have 30 minutes or 25 minutes total, but we're going to give them a 15-minute warning, then a 10 and a 5. You solve it as a group. Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
You're on my, I just got feelings around my hands. Yeah. That's good.
Now remember, you guys, you have to solve it as a group.
Solving it as a group of deaf mutes.
Briefing sheet.
I can barely.
Oh, really?
No, go ahead. I can be up there. Focus as well. I should brought my glasses. I
So
can
we
really
know
see.
that whoever it was heavy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that takes chills out, you think?
Middle
He weighed
aged.
180
180.
pounds.
Okay, because this says heavy. Okay, so that's gonna.
The man was middle-aged, average in height, and was heavy. And then it's also said again, pressure. They found the footprint of the back window, and they showed the size, and it also was made by a man of greater than average weight.
So that's gonna be your 240 guys and 220 guys.
Right.
Well, they're all pretty big.
So with chills being 180, do you think that takes him out?
Yep.
Yes, I
Mhm.
would think so.
And then also earlier it said that Chills and Blue Eyes were in the vicinity of a social club. So if Chills and Blue Eyes were together,
That would probably eliminate
him
him.
out.
as
So that would
well,
eliminate blue eyes, right?
yeah.
Okay.
because he was with this one.
Okay, Hot Dog and Gypsy were near an off-track betting office.
Mm-hmm.
So they were together.
Right.
So that, so
15 minutes left.
that would eliminate them, is that
Okay.
right?
We can,
Hot Dog and Gypsy?
okay.
And then Digger was at some meeting,
But we don't know.
but we don't know where. And he
Okay.
was by himself.
Right. And then we have Jumbo and Benji who unknown whereabouts. Okay.
Okay, so Jumbo and Benji and Digger are, we don't know where they were.
Right. Who's just okay. And then Jumbo's the heaviest
Mm-hmm.
of the three that we have left.
And he
So-
wears an
Just gonna
8D.
put a star by that.
Yeah.
He wears an 8D, which matches the foot. And if it were just him and Charlie alone, it kind of gives him an advantage over him. What else can we tie back to him? Middle age.
Mhm.
He is.
And he was one of the heaviest.
Heaviest ones.
Mhm.
You're saying Jumbo, yeah.
Mhm.
About the shoe size, you're right.
Is there anything else that indicates?
That worked.
Oh, and his blood type is A. They said that they found two
Groupings A and
groupings, A and B. So that kind of throws us off because Charlie had bled profusely. He had blood type A. So somewhere blood type B came in. So who is our next in
Okay.
weight? Benji.
B.
And he has a 7.5D.
He only weighed 220.
And
which is
he's,
still
could
probably
still be him.
overweight.
Blood
yeah,
type B.
because he is 49, so
Mhm.
that,
Uh-huh.
as far as age.
Right.
And here.
Well, this guy
So
went out
the
the
blood
window.
type kind of takes Jumbo out, right?
The blood type?
Mm-hmm. Because they found A and B.
They found A and B?
A and B.
All right.
But what was
AB.
Charlie's blood type?
A.
A, okay. Okay.
So somewhere somebody brought in the B blood.
So it's gotta be somebody with B-type blood.
Mm-hmm.
Blood seems like the two groupings. What does
Well,
that
it
mean?
says
A and B.
A
What does
and
that-
B.
What does that mean?
So
So the blood stains on the floor fell into two groupings, A and B. Charlie had blood profusely. He had blood type A. Beneath his fingernails are tufts of hair.
Oh, okay, so the guy has to be B. Yeah.
okay, so Charlie had
Type A blood.
type A.
And they found type B
And they
blood.
found type A, which would have been his.
Right.
So that
And then B.
eliminates Jumbo.
Yeah,
Okay, so then we're down to Benji and Digger,
right.
okay?
Both have blood type B. Okay, now this said
They
that
both
he
have
was.
7.5
Okay, this
But
is.
he
only weighed 210.
Right.
And
So that's one
Benji
of the
weighed
lighter
220.
weights.
Yeah.
Says he was
Digger's
about average
committed
in
homicide
height.
before, so we're.
Right.
Okay. Who if he- did?
Digger has.
if
Didn't
he
it
was-
say something about a vehicle driving away? Do you remember what kind of vehicle?
It
A
was.
dark sedan. Do you see what kind of vehicle Benji drives?
Benji.
Yep.
One
Mercedes.
is a dark blue.
But the other one
one's
has a dark green Cadillac. They both have
Sedan.
dark
Dark
Digger,
green.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah,
They're both sedans. But now this says that one of them was about average in height. And so Benji's 5'4".
He's kind of
and-
short.
And Digger is 5'7".
That's more average.
That's more average.
5 short for a man.
Okay.
so eliminates Benji, is that right?
Yeah. So does that,
That only leaves Digger.
Digger.
Mhm.
are we on a consensus that Digger is the
Yep, because he's average height.
average height?
Type B
10
blood.
minutes.
You have 10
Um,
minutes.
He's above 200 pounds.
He's above 200 pounds, he's 52,
Type B blood.
type B blood, and
The shoe
he,
size
Shoe
fit.
size
Mhm.
shoe size is 7.5D.
And he has the sedan.
Sedan.
Dark.
Sedan.
Yes, dark green sedan.
All right.
So are we
So
done?
that's-
We
Are we
think
finished?
we have our murderer. The only thing that throws me off is his weight's a little below, but they were also trying to throw us off by us trying to figure out the heaviest guy.
Yeah, 210
Yeah,
still
even-
above.
even
It's
that
above
is
average,
right.
yeah,
And stand by, Tabitha, I'm gonna have you look down and look up and say, I think we found it.
under murder.
Wait, say it one more time. Okay, go.
I think we found our murderer.
Okay, you sure you got the right murder? You sure you got the right
By
person?
process of elimination, we believe.
Okay, and you're all in agreement that you found the person? Okay, you know, you're competing against the other group, so I don't want you to say it out loud. I'll give you a freebie. Tell me who you think it is, just pointing to it. Yeah, no. 7 minutes left.
Now put the mic back down.
One of the youngest.
These guys are only
39.
5'7". All of them are going to be heavy.
Okay, Jumbo
Joseph,
and
I think
Benji.
at
Blue eyes.
5'7", he's 180 pounds, he's heavy. They're all heavy.
Well, but see, Blue Eyes, Chills and Blue Eyes were in the vicinity of a social club. So
But-
they were together.
And Blue Eyes, let's see, what's this
But
about
one
this
of them
first
could've
sweep? It
slipped
says
away.
including Blue Eyes, they picked him up.
He had a
Well,
black
going back,
sedan.
we still have, say Jumbo and Benji.
What were you saying?
Well, he has type
B
B blood,
Mhm.
and he was driving a black sedan. He's 51, 240,
He's 5'7".
he's
Shoe
5'7",
size
he's
is right.
average.
He had a black sedan.
So we're looking at Blue Eyes.
Yeah, just because of the,
All of the, okay,
One of them could have covered for the other one while he slipped away.
right. That's true. Is there
It says the search is apparently fruitless until one middle-aged man is found who observed two men entering the abandoned club while he was walking his dog.
So that could be the two men, Blue
That could be
Eyes
Blue
and-
Eyes and Chills. Because he saw them enter the building and heard a loud argument.
Chills has been up on homicide before.
Well, but Chills has type A blood.
Well, Blue Eyes has type
minutes.
B.
Blue Eyes has
Has
B.
B.
So,
It says he saw one man fleeing from behind the building. Well, at that time he heard two shots. The door of the club opened, but no one came out.
then that's when he saw the man fleeing
And it
from
says
behind
that
the
he-
building.
And this witness was 3 blocks from the club, and they were the two that were in the vicinity of that social club.
Mhm.
Okay. So right now our second pick is Blue Eyes. Is that who we're looking at?
Mhm.
Did it say over here who he made the appointment with?
No,
This
it just
sentence-
says
Yeah, it said Charlie called a member of the gang and made an appointment with his killer.
and then it has their phone conversation.
Yeah, it didn't say who he called.
3 minutes. 3 minutes.
All right. Who are we gonna?
I just want to take a vote.
Who
What about
votes for
Blue Eyes? Yeah,
All right, go ahead.
okay. We think we have our murderer.
Our second.
Our second, yeah. Second.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to talk about how we went about solving the crime. So y'all turn your chairs around and take a look at the board. How many of y'all like to watch CSI, Law and Order, Criminal Minds? Ooh, I love those shows. Okay, do you recognize this? What do they call it in the TV shows? It's an evidence board, right? And in all the shows, that's what they have. They have an evidence board. Why do they do that? Well, if you have all the information that everybody has available in one spot where everyone can see it, it's easier to detect patterns, right? So they have the suspects up there, they have the victims up there, they have where the murders took place and everything. Well, that's called a storyboard or an evidence board, and that's what we have here. And so basically what you're doing is you're taking information, you're organizing it so that it makes it easier to do what? To spot patterns, right? Okay, are there some patterns that jump out at you here? Okay, like what jumps out? Blood types, right? You got 2 with an A, and then you have, what else? And does anything stand out here?
They're all tall. 5'7". And then one short one.
Right, so then you could say pretty much might be eliminated because of this, right? So who do you say is this time? Who do you say is your murderer?
Blue Eyes.
You said it's Blue Eyes? Okay, now let's find out if your suspicions are going to hold up in court. Okay? All right. So what did you use to determine how you were going to eliminate everybody else?
We kind of looked at weight
Okay.
because it said he was above,
He was heavy.
yeah.
Okay.
Heavy.
All right. What else did you look at?
And the height.
The height.
The height. Okay.
And the blood type.
Okay.
Charlie's was A,
Uh-huh.
so the person who shot him had to be
I found it interesting that only one person saw that Charlie had blood type A. Did you guys find that unusual?
Well, on the, where it says the blood stains on the floor fall into two groupings, A and B.
Okay,
That one just kind of went over my head. I didn't.
okay, but does it say, how'd you know to eliminate blood type A?
She had the information beforehand.
It said Charlie had blood
Yeah.
profusely, he had blood type A.
Yeah, it says.
But does it say that on yours? Does it say that on yours? On yours? Did anyone recognize the fact that she had information that no one else did?
Not till now.
Oh.
No, oh no.
I kept looking.
What a challenge. Okay, so you used,
We believe her.
okay.
She's very trustworthy. If it's on there, I can't see it.
So did age figure into it? Or you looked at kind of?
Middle-aged man.
Middle-aged man. Well, I want you guys to take a look at your briefing sheet. And at the very end of the story, right? At the very end, the last sentence, the last period, all right? Did you notice that each one of you has a different number of periods? For example, Tabitha, since she has the blood type, she would have had 2 periods at the end of hers. No, wait, blood type is 1 period. Okay? Who has 2 periods? All right, Barbara would have had the information about weight and age. All right? Who had 3? What was the height of the suspect? Everybody else has said, all right, 5'7". Okay? So every single one of you had different information based on the number of periods that you have in the story. Okay? So if you weren't really paying attention to the details, that might slip up. So now we really do want to see if who you say it is who's going to hold up. All right? Now the other guy you said it was who, Digger?
Yeah.
Okay, well I'm going to put Digger down on here because that was your first suspect. All right. What happened at 7 p.m.?
There was a phone call.
That's right, the phone call. So the person who committed the murder had to be available to take the phone call and then had to be available to do what at 10? To meet and then actually commit the murder, right? All right. Where was Benji at 7 and at 10?
Unknown.
That's right. Unknown in both situations. So would Benji have been available to commit the murder?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Where was Jumbo at 7 and at 10?
Also unknown.
That's correct. We don't know. Where was Chills?
He was in the vicinity of a social club.
Right, and where was he at 10? Unknown, or you think he's in the same area?
You
Club, this is pretty much in the
Assume,
same
yeah.
area. Okay, now, if he was in the vicinity of the club, could he have been available to make the phone call and commit the murder? Yeah. Okay, how about Franklin Logos Hot Dog? Oh wait, I'm sorry, Digger.
Digger was at a meeting.
Was at a meeting. So at 7, what about at 10?
We're assuming the same meeting. Questionable.
Okay, why would you assume it's the same meeting?
I mean, we're just, who knows where he's at, yeah.
Okay, all right. If this person's at a meeting, are they available to commit a murder?
Probably, I mean, who knows how long the meeting was. That's 7 to 10 is a long time for a meeting. I'm sure we're there by 8.
Okay, all right. How about Blue Eyes?
Blue Eyes was in the vicinity of a social club.
Okay. And Franklin Logos at 7 and a 10?
Oh, hot dog?
Yeah, I'm sorry, hot dog.
Off-track betting office.
And at 10 too?
Unknown.
Unknown? Okay, and then Gypsy.
At the betting office as well, at Sagard.
Okay, and then we're assuming he might have been there. Okay. All right, how'd you eliminate Benji?
His pipe.
Okay, so Benji was crossed off because of his height. So it didn't really matter where he was at 7 or 10.
Right.
How'd you eliminate Jumbo?
Blood type.
Okay, and how'd you eliminate Chills?
Weight and blood type.
Weight and blood type, right. So it didn't matter again where those two were, right? Because we can eliminate them. Okay, now Digger. Digger, how'd you eliminate Digger?
He told us he wasn't it.
That's right.
He was our first choice.
That was a gimme, so you could
But
have
another would have been his weight.
His weight, he wasn't quite the weight we thought he should be.
He was one of the lighter.
But from a distance, is there a big difference between 210 and 230, for example, or 220?
210's
No.
heavy for a 5'7" man.
It would have been hard to tell, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then Blue Eyes, you had nothing to eliminate Blue Eyes by, nor did you have anything to eliminate Digger. So really, would that hold up in court? Because all you have to do is cast enough aspersion on somebody to be able to make that go away, okay? All right, hot dog you eliminated on what basis? Hot dog wasn't eliminated. Ooh, no, so now you have two double whammies, all right? We're gonna go back to that. How was Gypsy eliminated?
Okay,
Well, Gypsy was 39.
Okay.
yeah, he wasn't
Yeah.
Right.
fitting the middle-aged.
Okay, so who has 5 periods and who has 4 periods on their paper?
I have 4.
Okay, so the person with 4 periods, let's see, let's deal with hot dog first. Because we didn't eliminate hot dog and dinner. Oh,
Hot dog was
4 periods. Okay, the person with 4 periods is who? All right, would you look on the left-hand side of your story? And do you know where it talks about the police force having this information swung into action at what time? This evening. And they rounded up the following suspects.
9 at 9 p.m.
Okay, so read me who the suspects are.
The Sweet Nets 20 suspects, including Johnny Blue Eyes. That's who's up one of them.
No, keep going.
Harry Hinge, Bruce Coma, Benny
Serrato.
Serrato, Frankie Lagasse.
That's hot dog.
That was hot dog. Hot dog was in jail. So he could not possibly have been
That was on your paper?
available.
We all had
Okay.
different, we all had
All right,
different stuff.
let me
to
tell
help
you what
each other
happened
out.
though.
That's just wrong.
And this is one of the common communication errors, is skimming. Anytime you have a bunch of information that's the same, like a group of numbers or a group of names, we have a tendency to skim over that information. And so even if you were paying attention, it would have been hard unless you were focusing on every single name. A lot of people miss that because of the skimming of the information. The other thing is, what's relativity? Relative weight and height. So when it says middle age, if you didn't know that middle age, according to this, was about the age of 50, okay? Middle age to high school students, to you it might be 30 or 40, okay? To an adult, it might be 50 or 60, okay? So that can be relative. All right? Now, we have to find a reason for eliminating either Digger or Blue Eyes. So let's talk about Digger for a second. Who has 5 periods? All right, would you please read on the right side, what kind of meeting was he conducting?
A union meeting.
He was, and he was doing what at the union meeting?
It says he was conducting a union meeting.
What does conducting a union meeting mean?
Holding the meeting.
He was the one running the meeting. And because he was running the union meeting, and I don't know what you all are learning in school about unions. Union meetings, if they're in there, they're locked in there, no one's leaving that room. Especially when they're going to the bargaining table and they're talking about salaries and wages. And if you're running the meeting, is it possible for you to leave, to make a phone call and to commit murder without anybody noticing? No. So by process of elimination, you got rid of Digger. And then, because there was nothing left, that's how it became Blue Eyes. But you guys, your case didn't hold up in court. Okay? So even though you shared information, you didn't quite share enough. So let's talk about some other things that happen when we're working in groups, all right? Was there one person who was just observing and not really participating? Because that's a tendency that happens when we work in groups. The other thing is, if you think we had all of us working in a group together, would we have been able to solve this mystery? If we had the whole room working together?
There would have been too much input. Everyone would have been fighting.
That's right. There is generally an optimum size for the group. And how do you know what's the optimum size for a group? Well, generally the rule of thumb is the more complex the task, the more people you want working on it. But you have to break them down into subcategories. For example, you're planning out your prom, okay, because now's the month to do that. And you know it takes a lot of people to do the prom because there are a lot of things that have to get done. Well, what's the best way to be able to break it down into smaller groups and yet let everybody participate?
Like delegate certain tasks.
What might be those tasks?
Like one person may be in charge of balloons, one person or one group may be in charge of the arch or decorations, and the other
Right.
person in charge of food.
Right, that's right. You break them down into subcategories, okay? The next thing is you have to look at things in terms of context. So a union meeting might not have meant a whole lot to you all, but the fact that the man was conducting the meeting meant that he couldn't have been able to lead. So it's how you read things. And then terminology, were there some words on there that were unfamiliar to you? Like roundup and a sweep? Do y'all know what that means? Those are vocabulary words that are more typical for someone of my generation. And basically that meant, even if you did get it, I've had a number of students who saw that Franklin Logis had been netted in the sweep, but they didn't really know that that meant that he was put in jail. Okay, so sometimes you have to understand the terminology. The other thing, did you have some people talking over each other? Did you notice that in your group or in other groups? Okay, you know, sometimes sometimes people get really excited and they'll talk over each other, okay? And then important information gets missed. Well, are you guys familiar with the term anagram? Do y'all know what that means, anagram? Okay, anagram is where you have a word and you take all the letters of that word and you rearrange it and it makes a totally separate word. What do you have? Turns into what? Silent becomes what?
Tinsel.
Huh?
Rearrange
Tinsel.
silent. Tinsel. No. That's true, but what else is it?
Listen.
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 And if you aren't silent, you can't listen. If you aren't silent, by the way, students, it takes them 2 seconds to unscramble it.
Oh, really?
Form a new word. Yeah, okay. So if you're not silent, you can't possibly listen, all right? How do you deal with an observer in a group, and how do you overcome some of these communication errors? When you have a tendency to skim over, you might want to read the information backwards. Because when you look at it backwards, and that's what proofreaders and editors do, they read it backwards, they can focus on each individual word, and it helps them to find misspelled words. What you do for an observer is you want to ask open-ended questions. Well, what do you think about this? And try to engage that person. If you find that the person still isn't engaging, then it's time to move on and focus and do your work without that person. The challenge with not getting the observer involved is sometimes that person has the critical piece of information to help you solve your crime. Okay? So what do you guys think? You like that exercise? Yeah. Okay. Well, you guys were a really great group, and so I appreciate that. You could take your handouts, you could put it in the recycling bin for your teacher, or if you want to go ahead and keep it or throw away, whatever you guys want to do is fine. And I'll get you out your contact cards and share information about OSU Institute of Technology, but I really do appreciate your time and attention. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it, Rex. It's a wrap.
Good.